On January 18, 2023, Time magazine journalist Billy Perrigo published an investigation that changed everything we thought we knew about artificial intelligence. ChatGPT, the AI chatbot that had reached 100 million users in just 60 days, making it the fastest-growing consumer application in history, was built on the labor of hundreds of Kenyan workers. These workers were based in a nondescript office in Nairobi's industrial area. They were paid between $1.32 and $2 per hour to read some of the most disturbing content ever created by human beings. Descriptions of child sexual abuse, graphic accounts of torture, detailed instructions for mass murder, hour after hour, day after day. In that same month of January 2023, OpenAI closed a $10 billion deal with Microsoft, valuing the company at $29 billion. The people who made its product safe were struggling to pay rent in Nairobi. This is the story they tried to keep quiet. To understand why these workers were needed, you have to understand how AI safety actually works. OpenAI's model was trained on vast amounts of internet text. But the internet is full of violent, racist, and sexually explicit content. To prevent ChatGPT from reproducing that content, OpenAI needed humans to identify and label the most harmful examples. To teach the AI what not to say, OpenAI contracted a company called Sama Group, formerly Sama Source, founded in 2008, which operated a large office in Nairobi. Sama had marketed itself as an ethical AI company. Its website proclaimed, "Work that matters." Workers say they were reading between 150 and 200 text passages per day. The passages included graphic descriptions of events like the Christchurch mosque shooting, in which 51 people were murdered in New Zealand in 2019. They included descriptions of child abuse, terrorism, and sexual violence that most human beings will never encounter in a lifetime. The work that was supposed to make ChatGPT safe was destroying the people who made it possible. The workers at Sama's Nairobi office earned between $1.32 and $2 per hour. Kenya's formal sector minimum wage in 2023 was approximately $2.20 per hour for unskilled workers. Sama's lowest-paid workers were earning below the legal minimum. The average living wage in Nairobi, the minimum income needed for food, housing, transport, and basic needs, is estimated at $4.50 per hour. These workers were earning less than a third of what they needed to survive. In that same month, January 2023, OpenAI announced a $10 billion investment from Microsoft. The company's valuation reached $29 billion. Its CEO, Sam Altman, appeared on international news programs as the face of responsible artificial intelligence. The people who built ChatGPT's conscience had no medical insurance, no mental health coverage, and no job security. This is what the AI economy looks like from the inside. Moffat Okinyi was one of the workers at Sama's Nairobi office. He told Time magazine he began having recurring nightmares after reading detailed descriptions of child sexual abuse. He could not sleep. He could not stop the images. Dave Wanjiku, another worker, said he developed anxiety so severe that he would have panic attacks every time he opened a laptop. Multiple workers independently described symptoms consistent with post-traumatic stress disorder, the same condition diagnosed in combat veterans and emergency responders. Sama provided exactly one wellness counselor for its entire Nairobi operation, which employed more than 250 workers. The counseling sessions lasted 30 minutes per worker, and workers say they were nowhere near enough to address the severity of what they were experiencing. When workers raised concerns with management, they were told the content moderation work was essential for AI safety, that they were protecting the world, but nobody was protecting them. In late 2022, before Time's investigation was even published, a group of Sama workers began quietly organizing. They formed a structure called the Workers' Rights Watchdog Kenya. They wanted formal recognition of their right to a union, better pay, proper mental health support, and the right to refuse content they found too disturbing. It would have been the first AI data labeling union in Africa. In February 2023, just weeks after Time's investigation was published, Sama announced it was shutting down its entire AI content moderation division in Nairobi. More than 150 workers were told their contracts would not be renewed. The workers' group said the shutdown was direct retaliation for their organizing. Sama denied this, saying the division was ending for business reasons. But the timeline was impossible to ignore. The people who had built ChatGPT's ability to refuse violent content had themselves been refused the right to refuse. Sama's Nairobi office was not an anomaly. It was a window into an entire industry. Scale AI, a San Francisco company backed by Peter Thiel and Andreessen Horowitz, valued at $14 billion, operates a crowdwork platform called Remote Tasks. Remote Tasks relies heavily on workers across Africa and Asia, paying between 50 cents and $5 per hour. AI content moderation sits at the lower end of that range. Across Kenya, Uganda, Nigeria, Ghana, and South Africa, researchers estimate that between 250,000 and 500,000 workers are currently employed in AI data labeling. They annotate images for self-driving cars, they label audio for voice assistants, they moderate content for social media platforms. They are the invisible human layer underneath every AI product you have ever used. By 2034, Africa will have 1.1 billion working-age people, the largest labor force on Earth. Silicon Valley is already building its AI economy on that foundation. The question is whether African workers will be partners in that economy or simply its cheapest input.